Hey everyone, today I'm joined by Dr. William Attaway. William is the founder of Catalytic Leadership, where he provides executive coaching and helps agency founders become stronger leaders. William and I have recorded multiple podcasts and done events together, and every time I leave with just awesome takeaways. He's a genuinely great guy and has an awesome perspective and insights on improving your leadership that you don't want to miss. In this episode, we discuss what mindset shifts agency founders should adopt for better leadership, why leaders should question their leadership style, how agency founders can leverage their long-term vision, and more. Today's episode is brought to you by ZenPilot. There are lots of tools out there for agencies to manage projects, but any project issues aren't usually caused by the tool. They're from your own processes. ZenPilot helps agencies implement their project management tools while streamlining operations, so your team can move from chaos to clarity. You can see for yourself at zenpilot.com/forward. And now, Dr. William Attaway. It's easier than ever to start an agency, but it's only getting harder to stand out and keep it alive. Join me as we explore the strategies agencies are using today to secure a better tomorrow. This is Agency Forward. So, what makes a great leader?
That's such a great question. I think that leadership is so often misunderstood, Chris, that people look at leadership and they think about a title. They think about the name on the door. They think about the one who gets to tell everybody what to do. Leadership is way more than that. I believe leadership is not about getting things done. I believe leadership is about getting things done through other people. When you are a high performing individual, an individual contributor, right, it was about getting things done. But when you step into a leadership role, now it's about pouring into and investing in the people that you lead so that they will accomplish more. It's about pouring into them and helping them understand that you are there to serve, to equip, to resource them so that the team can accomplish more. That is one of the most powerful and beautiful parts of leadership. So what makes a great leader? Somebody who gets that, somebody who's not about just trying to make everybody do what they think they should do, but about seeing the bigger picture and about focusing on what you can accomplish by empowering and equipping people to reach their capacity.
All right. So, love the answer. I want to get into mindset shifts like a little later in the episode, but I think this is probably the biggest mindset shift, right, for agency founders to make, especially most of the ones that I've talked to, right, have that issue with control and just like they want to either micromanage or get in and it feels natural to kind of maintain that. So how do you go about helping them shift their mindset so that, they actually don't want to hold that much control? They want to be able to let their team kind of flourish and explore these ideas and everything.
Well, you're exactly right that it is a mindset shift. I talk about the shift with this image. When you start an agency, you start and you're doing everything, right? Everything connects to you. Everything comes across your desk. You have to make the decisions. As you find success, you have to hire other people to help you with fulfillment because you simply don't have enough hours in the day to get it all done anymore. As you hire people, they start to look to you to lead, and then you have a choice. And this is the catalytic moment, so to speak, when you have to choose. Are you going to continue to be the center of the spider web where every strand connects to you? Are you going to continue to be the roadblock everybody has to pass in order to get anything done? Or are you going to choose not to be in the center of the spider web? Are you going to choose to build an organizational structure and systems so that people are empowered and equipped, that you give them not just responsibility, but you give them authority? When you do that, all of a sudden, now you're not the center anymore. People are able to get things done without coming to you. One of the best ways to begin to make that shift is to start asking a question when people approach you. When they come to you and say, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, can you help me decide? Hey, can you, they come to you, they start asking the questions. The number one question that I use with my teams is say, hey, what do you think? What do you think? Mm-hmm. If I wasn't here, what would you do? Now, I want them to understand that I have faith and trust that they're going to make wise choices. But I've got to show them that by not answering all the questions for them. If I'm the answer man, then they're going to continue to lean into that. That's how they're going to operate. That's the system that we are allowing. I want to create something way better than that.
Yeah, I agree entirely on the method. I was kind of, I hadn't really thought through the process for that, but it's what I did when I was in the Army, where my soldiers would bring me something. I just wanted them to take ownership of more.
Yeah.
And so they would bring me a, hey, sir, what do you think about this or this? I'm like, I don't know. What do you guys think about it? And they would like debate amongst themselves and I'm like, right, that sounds like a great answer. Let's try it.
Yes.
And then we would go explore, and maybe it didn't work. Maybe it did. Maybe I'd ask it more, another question, because I was like, oh, wait, hang on, that won't work. It's like, let's think a little differently. But yeah, that was like the approach that worked the most for me.
And sometimes they're going to come and you're going to say, hey, what do you think? And they're going to come back with an incredibly stupid answer.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Like sometimes that's going to happen. Like you're going to be like, ooh, and you got to control your face and control your emotions at that moment. And I'll be like, what? No, hey, you know what? I get why you would say that. I see where you're coming from. Let me help you understand how I think and how we do it here. And now you get to coach them. Now you get to guide them. Let me help you understand how we do it here. And now going forward, the next time they're in a similar situation, they have that information.
So a quick short story that you just reminded me of, actually from when I was in the Army. I was basic training, like company commander for infantry training. And we're at the top of the rappel tower and a kid passed out up there. And so I looked at two of the drill sergeants and said, hey, we got to get him down, right? So the medics can take care of him. And then I went back to doing what I was doing, and I look over and they're peeking over the edge, looking at the mat below. And I could tell they were calculating to see if they could toss him and land him on the mat. I'm like, hold up. Hey guys, we're gonna lower him down, okay? Like you could see the disappointment on their faces, but the kid made it down safely. And so when you bring up, sometimes our ideas are going to be stupid. Yes, 100%. Haven't seen anything like that in the agency world, though, fortunately. But yeah,
metaphorically, maybe. I mean,
right. Yes. So I guess with this, like everyone comes in with their own like leadership style, right? And you're kind of learning especially for agency founders, like you became the leader of that organization because you started the company, not necessarily because you have any more leadership training or you have any skills that they don't have. It's just, you were the first one there. And so it doesn't necessarily mean you're in the best position to lead everyone. And that's why you need to, bring in experts, actually focus on developing your leadership. Now, one of the things you recommend is continuously questioning your leadership style. Mm-hmm. How do you recommend that agency founders go about that, especially if they don't necessarily have the kind of like pre-built skills and like foundation to lead?
I think it starts with understanding that leadership is a skill, just like anything else. It's really not all that much different than learning SEO or learning, like coding. Like, it's a skill. You have to learn. Nobody's born knowing those things. Leadership's the same way. And when we understand that it's a skill that can and should be developed, it's going to change our posture because we understand that we can always get better. We have to understand that experience does not make you any better. Evaluated experience is what makes you better. And so you've got to constantly be evaluating and asking, hey, what went right this week? What can I celebrate? What are the wins? What didn't go right? Where did I swing and miss? And how would I do it different next time? If we're walking through those questions week in, week out as part of our weekly review, then we are evaluating the leadership decisions and choices that we make. And that's going to help us to improve. As leaders, we all start in the same place, Chris. We all start as new emerging leaders. And at the beginning, we really just copy other leaders. We copy people that we've admired, people that we've learned from, maybe people that we've worked for, or people that we've learned from afar. And that's normal at the beginning when you copy and kind of mimic other leaders. The problem is when you stay there. When you stay there and you don't develop and you don't evaluate and you don't get better, then eventually all you end up becoming is a bad copy of a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
You're not leaning into your own wiring. And this is one of the things I talk about a lot because I believe it's important. You have unique wiring as a leader. I do too. When you understand how you are wired, you can lean into that and stop trying to be something that you're not. I talk to way too many leaders who are using the word should. Well, I should be more like, well, I should be able to. Okay, you need to stop that. You need to understand how you're wired and lean into that. When you discover that, then you're going to be evaluating with the right metrics. You're going to stop trying to think you should be more like someone else and start to understand what your development path looks like, what your growth plan should be.
Right. Yeah, I think there's something to be said. Like, you can go copy Steve Jobs, right? But like Steve Jobs, yeah, he was a visionary and stuff, but he wasn't necessarily the nicest person.
Right.
And one of the reasons he was able to kind of stay there, and I mean, he even was out for a bit, right? Came back.
Yes, he was.
But people were part of this larger vision, and they knew they had all these benefits and all of like everything that came with being part of a big company. You can't do that with an agency, right? Like if you're bullying people and scolding everybody, they're just going to leave. Like your company isn't that great. And so copying people like doesn't take into account all of these different variables that you need to, which, you know, your team's going to be different. Your mission's going to be different. The situation is entirely different for you. And so like, why don't you lean into your strengths? Yeah. Like I agree entirely. I've also seen a lot of leaders who pick a style and they're like, this is how I lead. And they just go into every opportunity, every organization the same exact way. And then they get different results every time, right? Because they don't account for those variables to like, you can still be you and still shift how you're doing things to find, you know, the best result. So I guess when you talk like continuously questioning, are there any methods, tactics, things that you try to deploy for these leaders to make sure that they are like constantly improving themselves?
You know, I think the weekly review is the secret sauce there because you're evaluating every week. You're looking at where the wins were, and you want more of those. You get more of what you focus on. I want more wins personally for myself, for the business that I lead. I want more wins. So I'm going to focus there first. Say, where do I need to pour some gasoline on the fire? Get more of that. And then I'm going to look at where I swung and missed and start thinking through, okay, wow, what happened there? And how would I do it different next time? When you walk through that evaluative process, you will begin to see areas for change. And growth only happens on the other side of change. If you think you have, I got this figured out, this is how I'm going to do it, I'm never going to change. That's just a refusal to change, which means it's a refusal to grow.
Right.
You're not going to get better. In fact, I believe you're going to get worse because stasis exists only in a laboratory. You're either growing and getting better or you're going the other direction. Right. I prefer to be intentional and choose to grow and get better. Yeah. I recommend it highly.
Yeah. I think most people will back you on that one. So let's talk some of the limiting beliefs of agency founders now. I just started exploring this more because I kept hearing the same things coming up in conversations where, you know, I can't leave, right? Because nothing's going to get done. Like everything has to go through me because the result isn't going to be what we expect. Yeah. What are some of those limiting beliefs that you continuously see? And I guess which ones are the most dangerous? Let's go. Let's explore.
Yeah. You know, I think you keyed in on a big one there. You know, that if I don't do it, it won't be done well. That excellence only happens when I touch it. And when I hear that or recognize words that point that direction, I'm always going to zero in there because what's at the root of this? A couple things. One, it could be ego, right? Let's just be honest. It could be ego. And you're thinking way more highly of yourself than you ought to. And, you know, do you bring nothing but excellence every time you touch anything? Really? Yeah, I mean, that's how you operate. Like, I'm going to dive in there. That's amazing. I doubt that's true, but it's amazing if it is. Remember, your job, though, as the leader is not to get things done. Your job as a leader is to get things done through other people. So if you're the only one who can do it that well, that tells me that you haven't taught your people yet. You haven't delegated and equipped them. So now we have a different problem, right? Maybe it's not so much ego as it is just you haven't been intentional about pouring into your team. You have what you tolerate. And so if you have a system where you're the only one that can do it right, that's because that's what you've tolerated. It's time to tolerate something different. It's time to change. And by learning to delegate, you overcome that belief because now hey, I want you to come with me. I want you to watch me do this. I want you to do this with me. Now I'm going to watch you do it. And now you're going to do it. I'm going to step back, take my hands off. You walk through that process enough times, what you learn is that, hey, you know what? They can do it. I heard one of my mentors say one time that if somebody else can do something 80% as well as you can, you need to let them do it and take your hands off. Mm-hmm. When I first heard that, I pushed back hard. I was like, 80%? Come on, man. That's like a C. Like a C level work, really? That's what we're after? No. Hey, it's got to be 100%. Okay, really? Because they're not you. And they don't know yet. You got to start where they are, not where you think they should be. And so if I see them operating at an 80% level, I need to let them do it and then coach them and equip them to get that number up. Mm-hmm. But if I think I'm the only one who can, I will never do that. I'll just keep doing it. And as long as you do it, you're at the center of the spider web. And that limiting belief will keep you from scaling and growing 100% of the time. You will never grow beyond a certain point because you are the limiting factor.
Mm-hmm. Two ideas I want to explore from this. So something we had played with, and I don't know who created this concept, but it was the 10-80-10 kind of idea, where the leader provides that 10% initial guidance so that the team can do the 80%. And when they bring it back, you might have to do some tweaks, but it's 10%. So now you get to go spend your time, focused on those, really just giving the clear guidance, making sure everyone has what they need, and then just checking it before it goes out rather than building everything. And it was like, awesome idea. Worked great for us. But the other one, I love that you use the word tolerate, because long ago I've been told by someone, again, man, I need to start writing down when people tell me smart things. Like I need to just jot it somewhere, that you can't change what you tolerate.
Yeah.
And so you have to find the dissatisfaction in whatever you want to change. Otherwise you're just going to keep dealing with it. And I think that's one of those things that, right, with agency founders, it's like you're going to keep telling yourself the story of I have to be there, I have to be doing it, but you are tolerating it. And so it's not going to change because you're willing to put up with that stress, and it almost becomes the status quo for you. And now it's really hard to shift out of it. So you're like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we break free of that?
I was working with a client, this has been almost 2 years ago now, who owns an agency and decided to take some time off. And he came back after a month, and it was, in his words, a dumpster fire. Everything was on fire or just going south. I mean, nothing was healthy. Nothing was good. And he was just in turmoil, really. I can never take time off again. I'll never be able to do this. I'll never get the freedom. Most people start a business or an agency because they're after one or more of three things. They want financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom, right? At least one of those, most often more than one. Well, he's running into this saying, well, I guess I'll never have that time freedom. I guess I'll never have location freedom. Really? Because maybe you just need a different system. And so we start working together. And this last year, so about a year later, based on the work that we had been doing and the growth that he had been pursuing, he was able to take not 1, but 3 months out of the country. And his business was stronger when he got back than when he left. Okay. How'd that happen? Magic? Did it just happen to circumstance? No, that was hard work. That was intentional effort that was put in. His business is larger today than it's ever been He saw growth there because he chose it. You get to choose. You're the owner. You're the founder. You get to choose this. You can have that, but it's not just going to happen. You're not going to wake up one day and magically it has appeared. You have to pursue it. It deals with the team members that you hire. Can they be trusted? The team members that you hire, are they aligned with how you do things? Right? Are you equipping and empowering them? It really starts there. Once you build those systems correctly, once you build your operations in such a way that you're not the center of the spider web, Katie bar the door, because now you've set yourself up to scale and grow. But if you don't, you have what you tolerate.
Right. So what are some of the other, I guess, mindset shifts that you would recommend agency founders kind of adopt so that they can put themselves in a better position?
One of the biggest ones I see is a lack of focus. In agency world, man, things are changing all the time. Like we are constantly seeing new, greater, better, shiny objects are everywhere. They litter the landscape, right? And if we just add this to our portfolio of services, if we just do this, this is going to be the game changer. This is going to get us to the next level. Oh, if we just learn this, if we add this, if I hire this person, this will be this software package. This will be the game changer. Mm-hmm. I hear it all the time. It's everywhere. And one of the things that I work with clients on is establishing what I call clear-minded focus. And what I mean by that is I want to be able to define 2 points very, very clearly. The first point is, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? I want to paint that picture with as many colors and brushes as we possibly can. I want there to be so much clarity that you can see it, smell it, and taste it. Once we paint that picture of where you want to be with your business and you personally, where you fit in that business, now we're going to define the second point. Where are you today? And I want to paint that picture with as many colors and brushes as we can. Now, most often, Chris, people struggle with one of those 2 points, with a lack of clarity. They either tell me where they want to be. Well, I want to be, this level of MRR. I want to be, 120,000 MRR. Great. Okay. That's a specific goal. But what exactly does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? Are you driving all that? Are you focusing on is sales your baby? Are you doing fulfill? I need to know, I need to paint the picture. Mm-hmm. So we have to clarify both of those points. Where are you today? Oh, well, I don't really like to look at the numbers. You'd be shocked how often I hear that.
Okay, it's terrifying.
You're the founder. Okay? Nobody else is going to look at this like you look at it. Nobody else is going to see what you see. And you have to know exactly where you are, right? Mm-hmm. Once we define those 2 points, then it's simply a matter of building a bridge from here to there. Building the bridge is the easy part.
Right.
Defining the 2 points, that's where the hard work comes in. So I see a major limiting belief right there, because most people do not have those 2 points clearly identified, which means they are susceptible to distraction. And distraction, we want to blame everything external. We want to blame these little pieces of plastic in our pockets, right? We want to blame our phones. It's all the distractions. It's the notifications. Yeah, you know what? The source of most of your distractions are between your ears.
Yeah. Is it, what's he call it? So Napoleon Hill, love him or hate him, but the definiteness of purpose, right? Being able to have that sole focus. And so I was exploring his practices, and every night before bed, I would recite the same purpose that I had for myself. And your subconscious starts going to work, and you start having all of these different ideas around the specific target. But I realized that I would pick up my phone and be like, I don't need this right now. I don't want to do this, right? I have a focus. I'm actually going to do these things. And so it is crazy if you can just find the right focus. And I think, your exercise of understanding where you want to go and where you are with such clarity that you can see it, right? It's like watching a movie. You can make a map to go anywhere. If you know, you can connect the dots, right? That's the easy part. Finding where those dots are, definitely the challenge, but probably the most worthwhile thing that someone can do.
Well, and I love what you said there, that, when you would pick up your phone, you'd be like, oh, no, this isn't where I want to be right now. Man, that's focus. Because once you get a clear picture of where you are and where you want to be, anything else you begin to recognize, oh, that's not getting me from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not part of this path. That's something. No, I don't have time for that right now. I clearly see where I need to go. Once you have that kind of clarity is kindness. Clarity is kindness with your team members. Clarity is kindness with your clients. Clarity is kindness most with yourself. When you have that kind of clarity, nothing will stop you.
Yeah. I was just actually talking to a friend in the agency space. But we were talking about Brendan Burchard's book, High Performance Habits. And one of them is seek clarity, right? The highest performers are continuously seeking clarity in all they do. And like, this is a study of thousands of people who are, I don't know if you just qualified them, what he used for the qualifications, but like, these are high performers. These are all people who are at the top of their game being interviewed. And one of the common habits was seeking clarity. And so like, yeah, there's tons of value to that. So I guess seeking clarity is probably the good answer to this question. So I'm going to challenge you to come up with a different answer. If there was like one thing that you would recommend agency founders are doing today in order to kind of establish a stronger foundation that they can actually build their agency on, right? Something within their skill set. What would that recommendation be?
When you understand where you want to go with your business and in your own life as the leader, when you understand, hey, I really want to build something that's not a lifestyle business that's centered around me. I really want to build something that's going to scale and grow. That is going to change everything in your business. And the only way you're going to know what to change is through evaluation. One of the best tools that any agency owner can leverage is to do a weekly review. This is a habit that I teach. I learned so much about this from David Allen through his Getting Things Done work, his corpus of material with that. That is a habit I have practiced for decades. And the reason that I do that is because I want to continually grow and improve. And the only way I know what to change is through evaluation. Everybody listening can do this. Every single one of you. You can leverage a weekly review process so that you know what to pour gas on, what's working, where the wins are, and what needs to adapt and change. That understanding and discerning the difference between those two things is key. When you leverage that single tool, that can be a game changer. What I want to do and what I do as a coach is I help agency owners, I help founders to understand and see the things that they can't see. I help them to look from an outside perspective. You can't see the whole picture when you're in the frame.
Right.
And I mean, Chris, this is why I've had coaches for decades. This is why I have coaches now who help me to see what I can't see in my own business. I help other people, but you can't see it when you're in it.
Yep.
And this is what I believe every founder needs. You need an outside perspective as part of your evaluative process. You can only see what you can see. You need people to help you see from a different perspective. So the weekly review, the evaluative process, I think that is the secret sauce. And every single one of your listeners can leverage this starting today.
Yeah. So speaking of the listeners, they'll probably be annoyed for me bringing this up again. But this is called Solomon's paradox, where King Solomon, right, super wise king, was able to help tons of other people, but couldn't solve his own problems.
Exactly.
And it happens with all of us, literally every single person. How many agencies have bad websites? And it's like, you're a web development agency. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, why are you not, you're an SEO agency. Why are you not ranking number one here? It's because you're not taking your own advice. And so like, find those experts, bring them in. And then, it's all great. Personally, I'm going to add just another layer. I do a weekly preview where I just look at all of the meetings that I had for the week. What do I still need to action? Like what do I need to make sure it doesn't slip through the cracks? What's coming up next week? But I think adding that one step of like, where are those wins that I do want to, pour the gas on? I think that's super easy to add, but I see tons of value that can bring to the business.
I'll tell you, if you really want to take it to a different level, this sounds so simple, but this is big.
Mm-hmm.
Write them down. Keep a separate journal specifically around wins. Write them down. And over time, what you build is a knowledge base. And Chris, as you have those days that we all have, and everybody who's in the entrepreneurial space will understand what I'm about to say. Like, we all have those days when we struggle. We all have those days when we begin to wonder, can I really do this? Is this really going to work? Is this really, am I going to get to that next level? Am I going to achieve the things that I think are possible, but God, it doesn't seem to be working right now. Like, when you have those moments, you have to understand those feelings are valid. Mm-hmm. They're real, and you have to acknowledge that. But then the very next thing I do is say, okay, that's real, that's valid, but what does the data say? And then I pull out my wins journal. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to begin to walk through and read what I have written down in weeks and months and years past. And what this does neurologically is it actually changes your brain chemistry, because you begin re-celebrating those wins. Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. Oh, look. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You actually begin to change your brain chemistry. And as you begin to do that, you begin to reinforce confidence. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, it worked then. I can do it. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to work. Yeah. Yeah. And you're changing it from the inside out. But having that knowledge base, that data set that in your wins journal, that's the secret.
Yeah, you just hit me with another thing I got. So at the start of this year, I got a planner, and every day I add in like the little daily slot in that month, I add what are my wins for the day. And I just do that before bed, slap it down. So now, we're recording this September 3rd. Like, I've got 8 months of wins racked up in there, but I have yet to go back and use those. Like, I've gotten the habit of just like looking for my wins, and I find myself through the day being like, that one's going in tonight. Right. Like, and so that's positive. But I think in those moments of like doubt, being able to go back and be like, no, look at all this awesome stuff you did. Right. Like, that's, especially looking at it from the outside, like you're almost putting yourself in like that second person, right? Like, you're doing great. Like, good work. Keep it up. That can go a long way.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me to watch what you focus on can affect so many things in your life. I want to see more wins. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to celebrate those things. This is what I do with my clients. I tell them they are not going to have a bigger cheerleader than me, right? Because when they win, I win. When I see them celebrating, I'm like, yes. I had a client this year who we just crossed the 1 year mark of working together. And he started when he started last year, he was at a 7-figure level for his agency. And this year we're doing evaluation and he's at multiple 7 figures. And I said, hey man, this is great. What a celebration. I love this. And I'm celebrating with him, cheering him on. And we've been watching this over the year. And I said, we're at the end of our 1 year commitment together. I said, it's up to you if you want to continue. But just know, man, I'm so excited for what has already happened. Mm-hmm. And I'm celebrating that with you. And he laughed and he said, why on earth would I stop? And I love that because he's seeing so much value from the choices that he's making. You get to choose. I've got a new book coming out in January called The Catalytic Mindset. And that's the subtitle. You get to choose. You get to choose your mindset. You get to choose that. Nobody else will choose it for you because no one else can. I want you to choose a healthy one.
Yeah, I am. I've been excited for that book to come out since you first mentioned it to me. And so let's get the publishers. Come on, pick it up.
That's right. That's right. Step it up. Come on.
Well, awesome. William, this was another great conversation. I've got 2 more questions for you. Yeah. And this one has a little bit of a caveat. This is because you have a book coming out, so you can't use this one. But what book would you recommend every agency founder read?
Atomic Habits is the first one that comes to mind. And I know that's one that everybody's talking about and has been since it came out, really. But I think what James Clear does in that book is really boil so much down to very practical steps and illustrates that You don't have to like take a month-long journey to the mountains of Tibet, to come up with your plan that will then take you through the next 20 years. It's about the habits and the micro habits that you change that have incredible results over time, because change compounds, growth compounds. And I think Clear does a phenomenal job in that book. I'll give you a bonus one, and I've already mentioned it. This was David Allen's book, Getting Things Done.
Mm-hmm.
This book revolutionized the way I think about productivity, and it changed how I do what I do every single day. It helped me to understand that what you do every day needs to align with where you want to be in 3 years, in 5 years. And if it doesn't, then you are going to feel that lack of alignment internally, and it's going to feel really bad. And this is where so many people are. It becomes like, wow, it didn't feel like I'm making progress. Yeah, it's because you're not aligning your day-to-day with your long-term goals or even your short-term ones. When you learn to align that, man, I'll tell you, it has revolutionized what I do and how I do it.
Yeah. This conversation has made me rethink everything. I have to go back and just make sure I am aligned on my bigger vision. Last question. Where can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I do a lot over there. I do monthly webinars around leadership, mindset, and productivity topics, specifically in the entrepreneurial and agency space. So I'd love to connect with your listeners there. You can find out more about everything else I'm doing at catalyticleadership.net, including the podcast that I host that you've been on, Chris.
Yeah, everyone should check out all of your resources. Catalytic Leadership Podcast is awesome. It's one of my go-to listens. And so I recommend that for everyone else. So, but yeah, William, thanks for joining.
And thanks for having me. I so enjoy every time we talk, Chris. I always walk away learning something. So thank you for today.
Yeah, we're going to start having like we're creating a binge bank of just content that we're doing together. So this is good.
I love it.
That's the show, everyone. You can leave a rating and review, or you can do something that benefits you. Click the link in the show notes to subscribe to Agency Forward on Substack. You'll get weekly content, resources, and links from around the internet to help you drive your agency forward.